Welcome to the Prime Health Podcast with your host, Dr. Derek Barron. Dr. Barron interviews doctors, wellness experts, and healthcare leaders who are revolutionizing how we approach health and longevity. The Prime Health Podcast explores breakthrough science, personal and patient stories, and practical insights that are shaping the future of health and wellness. So sit back, listen in, and prepare to transform how you think about your path towards Prime Health with Dr. Barron and his special guest.
Hello, my name is Dr. Derek Barron, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Prime Health Podcast. We interview doctors, nurses, wellness experts, and healthcare leaders who are revolutionizing how we approach health and longevity. We explore breakthrough science, personal and patient stories, and practical insights that are shaping the future of health and wellness. Now, before I get into our amazing guest today, I want to do a quick note from our sponsor, Growth Solutions. We are your business growth partner for busy health and wellness professionals. So whether you're working to eliminate some of your biggest headaches in your business or your practice, such as new customers or new patients, improving patient communication and practice operations, processes, systems, we have frameworks and AI that can help with that. We are not a vendor. We are your partner in growth. So if you have ever said this to yourself, I am too busy to grow, too slow to scale, or too overwhelmed to fix it, we can help. If that's you, just drop the word growth in below. One of my teammates will get back to you on that, or you're welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. Now, this is what we are all here for today, and that is to meet the star of the podcast. I'm excited to introduce you to Dr. Joe DiDuro. He is a chiropractic neurologist, clinical researcher, and author deeply committed to helping people live more fulfilling lives through improved brain health. His passion lies in teaching individuals how to achieve neuroregeneration and healing. With over 4 decades of clinical experience, Dr. DiDuro has profound understandings of the impact of the loss of cognitive function on individuals and their families. Dr. DiDuro earned his Bachelor's of Arts from the State University of New York at Buffalo and his Doctor of Chiropractic degree from Palmer College of Chiropractic. He holds a diplomate status in chiropractic neurology. His commitment to evidence-based care led him to obtain a master's degree in clinical research. This guy is a smart fella. Dr. DiDuro is the president of ProNeuroLight, a medical technologies company. He's a sought-after cognitive neurotherapist and brain fitness coach, and is considered the world-leading expert on transcranial photobiomodulation. A prolific author and speaker, Dr. DiDuro is recognized as a world-leading authority on the transcranial photobiomodulation and the Glymphatic system. He has published numerous highly cited scientific papers and lectured worldwide. His most recent work is his book called My Brain Matters, The Neurometabolic Solution. Provides a how-to guide for enhancing your brain power. So you're in for a great show today, I promise you. Dr. DiDuro, welcome to the Prime Health Podcast, my friend.
Great to have it. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. What a great intro. I'm humbled by my own introduction. Well done.
As well you should be, Doc. So there will be some comedy involved with this, and I appreciate that. So I always ask this question first. You know, sometimes people had an episode in life, or sometimes they knew that they were calling when they were in 3rd grade. What really got you in your path into going into medicine and healthcare?
Well, I think that this is a great review, and I'm glad I wrote the book because we covered this kind of in the book. Really, the thing was that I went to college on the same street I went to high school on, Hobart College, Hobart William Smith. And my parents paid a lot of money, and I went in there and I said, well, what's the hardest classes to take, you know? And they were like, well, pre-med. I said, okay, I'll take that. So we were in chemistry and all this stuff. And as it said, it's a long story, but the bottom line is, you know, we were in an advanced chemistry class, and I saw like 2 of my classmates cheating on the test. I was sitting in the back, right? And I'm watching everybody, and I'm looking at these guys, and I go, these are going to be our future scientists, doctors, you know, researchers. And I said, it's really that bad, you know? Yeah. So I to make a long story short, I transferred to another college. And while I was there, I got into creative writing. And in creative writing, I went out there to study American Indian history.
Interesting.
And while I was there, I was doing creative writing at the same time. And I interviewed a guy who was one of the world leading white-tailed deer hunters. And he was a primitive bow, a white-tailed deer hunter. He started showing me all the pictures of these guys, and he goes, that guy's a chiropractor, that's a chiropractor, that's a dentist, that's a chiropractor, you know. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So anyway, the big story is it just sort of came to me, right? I got into chiropractic for a philosophical reason, really, on a kind of a lost understanding of how the body gets sick and how the body heals. And that's really what drew me to the field of chiropractic, because the guy ended up was a chiropractor. And after, you know, just, it's a long story. So I guess if we're going to cut this out, I've always been interested in the brain, you know,
okay,
and interested in, you know, how the body heals. That's sort of like everything kind of meshed together. And I said, well, I want to be a chiropractor. My mother said, well, that's okay. So, and that was like, you know, probably around this time in 1980. So let's take you back how long ago that vision came to me.
yeah,
But, you know, basically, you know, the whole scenario is, you know, I've always been kind of a brain geek, try to figure out performance, you know, how to be better. You know, Hobart College had 11 straight Division III NCAA lacrosse championships. So they were like the I don't know, a dynasty. And I just have to say that lacrosse is a Native American sport.
yes,
And I played that, and I played that at Hobart. And I just want to say I was on the JVs driving them on to greatness. I never got a ring, and I never did anything like that. Pretty mediocre at most of the stuff I do. But when I get my eyes on something, or I focus on something, I can go pretty deep. And that's kind of what, you know, led me here to be talking with you today.
yeah. Well, I love the story, Joe. It's great. Lacrosse is an amazing sport. My son plays. I didn't. I'm from the Midwest. We didn't know much about it. But when it leads into the brain, my son played baseball. He played lacrosse for a year, went back to baseball again, went from a right-handed batter to a switch hitter. The hand-eye coordination that sport gives you, the neurocognitive development, I think it's great. Everybody should try it. It's not like kicking a ball with both hands. What you have to do from hand to hand is unique. So I do think when they say lacrosse players are smart, I think most of them are very, very intelligent. They have to be to play the sport.
Well, I mean, you're taking me down memory lane. You know, I wanted to talk about baseball a little bit today because we are very into measuring stuff. That's what a clinical researcher does. So,
Yeah.
you know, you were in practice, I was in practice, and most of the time it's like, get them in, you know, get the treatment, get them out. How you doing? Good. Everything's good. But I always wanted to kind of like prove something, you know, like, hey, I think that it works like this. So if I measure it and I can show those changes, I feel pretty good about myself. I didn't listen to the patients really that much, and because like, what are they going to tell me? You know,
Yeah.
if your insurance quits, you're going to tell me that you're not getting any better. You know, I know it's kind of a hassle. So I like to measure stuff, but then I didn't know what to do with it. So I went to get my master's in clinical research so that I could measure this stuff, and that's kind of where I'm at. So we have a new app out that measures reaction time. And it's so critical, like you said, it's the blink of an eye. And the thing that we found is that in all the research and in our research, that photobiomodulation increases the brain's attention, focus, cognition, basically, fluidity, all these things that we need seems to come through with using the photobiomodulation or the light therapy on your head. And I just wanted to say that I got a lot of concussions in my life. I got a lot of them skiing, falling. Like my mother said, by the time I was 6, I had 6 concussions, and that was just the beginning. And, we used to play football. So 4 years of high school football to, 4 years of high school, way more than 4 years of football. Lacrosse, we were playing it in the backyard when we were kids, right? So, but we used to see how many stingers we could get a day playing football. I used to like to smash into people, anger issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I didn't have, I watch the baseball players now because we have a nice correlation, a connection with baseball players' reaction time, trying to be ready and stuff like that. So the app is very helpful for them, and the transcranial photobiomodulation is helpful for them. And they're getting all these tips, like, watch his glove, look at the logo on his hat before he releases, all this stuff. I used to just go up there and, wow, that ball's coming fast, and I realized about 10 years ago that I see double, right? So think about this. You get your brain mashed around doing all these, traumatic brain injuries, mild concussions, what have you. And then you go try to compete in a high sport where you didn't even know that you saw double and no one was teaching you what to do. I think I like Forrest Gump. I think I did pretty good for the nervous system that I brought to the game. You know what I'm saying?
No,
How can you really see double and see that ball coming in at 700 milliseconds? That's what it takes.
It's quick. Yeah, it's a short distance from one to another.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a great topic. That's a great thing. But measuring the changes of the brain and stuff like that. That's sort of what we like to do.
Okay. So there's all types of light therapy that's out there. There's red light therapy. There's lasers. Can you explain a little bit more about what specifically your transcranial photobiomodulation is and how that's connected to light therapy?
So there's a lot of stuff out there, and let's see if we can cut to it. I'm one of the world experts in photobiomodulation. I'm not the world expert, so just to correct that. But I will cut a little bit of the cut through the old crap cake, if you will. Physics, of light therapy is kind of, you have to pay attention to the science, right? So if you tell me that you're going to hang one of those red light panels in your bedroom and I sleep better and my testosterone is good and I look at my skin and everything like that, I would say that is a bunch of BS because it's physics. Okay. So you have light, it comes across, it's not a laser. So it's being diffused, then it hits your body and it goes all over the place. So the panels are good for one thing. So I had a patient come in and they say, since I started juicing, I'm no longer an alcoholic. And I said, well, Bob, it's not because you drink the juice that you're not an alcoholic. It's because you don't drink the alcohol. Oh, right. So the people that put the red light therapy panels, whatever they have there, at a distance from them and get all these benefits, it's probably because they're reducing the garbage light. So they're not having the LEDs on. They're turning it down. It's helping with their circadian rhythm. But is that light actually changing cellular function? I think it's debatable. It's like telling me a street light is photobiomodulation or the headlights on my car is photobiomodulation. So photo, light, bio, cell, modulation, change. So light changing cells. So you need a certain threshold, to make this thing go. It's like sunburn, think about it, right? That's intensity and power. And it's a cloudy day, maybe you don't get as much. So that's the first thing. So it has to be applied. Like the best is to have it touching the skin. You got me? So touching the skin. So even if your helmet or whatever is kind of got this much space, that's less power. So you got to kind of know those things. It's okay. Like I said, it's okay in marketing. You're going to tell a story, but when it comes to science, you have to tell the truth. So that's kind of the point. So red and infrared, our group of lights are unique is because we use 2, 3, and 4 wavelengths of light at the same time. So each one of them does a certain thing. And if you use one of them, it does a certain thing. If you use 4 of them, they kind of complement each other. They can bounce off each other. They can activate different tissues and cells and receptors and what have you. So, that's what I've gotten in the 25 years or so of researching this is come up with what I, think is based on science, a good product.
Yeah.
Well, not because someone told me or because this is what everybody, whatever.
Saw it on a commercial or have an influencer pushing it or pressing it on you. That's good. How is it that the work you do with the photobiomodulation affect our sleep?
Well, we were one of the first people to notice this and write about it. We did. It's kind of like this big question mark. That's like the edge of what we're understanding now. What we've always seen is if you have an influence on the nervous system, like being a chiropractor, they always said if you adjust the patients, the first thing they would say is, "I'm sleeping better," right? And so we go, "What's the neuromechanisms of that?" That's another story. For us, in all of the research that kind of came out, it would be mentioned over here, mentioned over there, people, but they never really measured it. We started to measure it when we were taking care of our dementia people, right? And I realized I'd say to him, "How's your wife sleeping?" "She's sleeping great." Says, "How do you know?" "She doesn't get up and walk around the house anymore." So, "Well, that's good, but how's she sleeping?" "Well, I don't know. She's in the other room." So then I would ask her, "How are you sleeping?" "I'm sleeping great." But okay, so I'm asking that. This is like total darkness, right? You're unconscious, you have dementia, and I'm asking you how you're sleeping, right? So that doesn't cut it for Dr. Joe, or he likes to measure stuff. So we got sleep trackers on our people, and we started to check their HRV and their sleeping and everything like that, and designing whole programs around optimizing their sleep and their HRV and their recovery. And so they feel good, they feel more energy, and they can see the changes happening. Yeah. So no one really understood or even investigated how the light would have an effect on your heart rate variability and your sleep stages. And what we always found was that the people's deep sleep would increase, sometimes at 100%. Their HRV would go up, and their whole sleep staging would get better. And that was very interesting, because as we're talking about on LinkedIn now, the bidirectional relationship between sleep and cognition. So we always realize that, as you get older, you sleep less. If you have a traumatic brain injury, you sleep less. You can get insomnia, all these things. And so we were putting these pieces together saying, look at what we're seeing. Look at, I'm measuring all this stuff in my people. And I was like, hey, this is consistently, they put it on, they could see a change. They may not feel something right away, but it's like getting on the scale every day. You see the weights going down. So you stay motivated, you do it. And really, we designed our whole system to enhance the sleep and the glymphatic system, which I know we're going to talk about. Because ours is again, it fits close to the head. It fits very comfortable. It's soft. I should pull it out, but that'll be a product endorsement spot. So we'll wait till the end. But you can lay down with it, right? So we have our people lay down with a comfortable thing on, turn it on just before they go to sleep, and then they do it one more time when they wake up. So we have the highest power output of 4 wavelengths of light that we do more than everybody else. And we seem to be having, outstanding results, even when you compare it to the research and what other people are doing. So yeah. That's just me, a little commercial there. But did I answer your question?
Or you did. So, but it brings up another question to me. So why would someone seek out your care? Is it just because they have bad sleep? Is it, how, if somebody's watching or listening to this, they're like, I got bad sleep, but I've got some other questions too. Can it help me in that regards?
Well, I mean, you want to stay focused, keep the main thing. Yeah, that's business. But because I'm a brain geek and because we like to go into all these areas, we have, like, anybody that has a brain can benefit from more brain power. Is what I said. So my accountant said, well, I don't need more brain power. And I said, well, I need a different accountant then. Because who doesn't need more brain power? Who doesn't need more attention, more cognition, more focus, right? And those things come from better sleep. So when you zoom back from it and you say, well, how does the brain heal? And the thing you talk about is, but the brain heals, the process of brain healing happens at night. That's why you sleep. That's why you can't go without sleep. The longest anybody's ever went was 11 days without sleep. Can you imagine? And even this mild sleep deprivation increases these toxic neurochemicals in your brain. So it's kind of like, oh, we better pay attention to sleep if we want to fix the brain. And that seems to be the way that, we've built this whole system to optimize sleep and help the brain. So just give you an example. Working with our master's student, and his thesis started out to be seizures or epilepsy. And that's sort of a vague thing because, it's tough to diagnose and it goes by a conversation and everything like that. And at the same time, we had a group of children and families in Central America, all over the world, basically, but Spanish-speaking people who were had children diagnosed with autism. And so we started to send out these helmets to the kids, and they were like, I don't know, man. These kids are like 4 years old. The average age was 11 and a half, but some of them are like months old and this stuff. And I said, I don't know about putting this high-powered stuff on these little babies. They still got their heads open and some unbelievable changes, right? So we're compiling everything. We just got to go ahead. We're going to go through this research thing. I kind of caught myself, right? Because we didn't really measure sleep. They all talked about it. All the parents talked about it, but in the outcome measures, the things that we measured, we didn't give them a questionnaire specifically for sleep. We talked about behavioral inflexibility and demand resistance. So like, go to your room, come here, sit down, or I'm bad in a crowd, I'm bad when someone comes over, things like that, right? And we also had the Autism Parenting Stress Index, which looks at how the parents are doing. Because I would just point out, we are always been a very caregiver-centric company, right? We take care of dementia, we take care of, chronic TBI people, we take care of high-powered executives who've got brain fog, we take care of like the long COVID people. Anybody who says, reads my book, it's a whole list of stuff. And photobiomodulation in the brain is great for so many things. And in that questionnaire, it showed, sleep. It said, hey, let's look at the kids, how their sleep did. Because we didn't have all the, people telling you in Spanish, hey, this is, I have my kids sleeping better, everything. What we found is that of the 35 people that started with this program, 60% of the families had kids with sleep problems. And that's like a multi-centric thing, right? So the kid doesn't sleep, he jumps in the bed or wakes up the family. So it's like a double-edged sword. Bad sleep is bad for the kid's brain, and the kid waking everybody up is bad for the parent's brain. So caregivers. So we also tell the caregiver, because some people, when you have cognitive decline, you lose the ability to do things, right? You become on human life support, right? Get up, eat, dress, bathe, everything, right? It's got to have another person with you the whole time. So we tell the parents to use the lights too, because if the caregiver goes down, the system breaks. So I had to, in the book, I describe how I came the primary caregiver for my mother, and then her companion. They were living in sin, right? At 88, he falls down the stairs and dies, and I became the sole caregiver for my mother with dementia. So I really had to put this into practice very quickly. And I realized that telling the caregiver that you need to come to the office 3 times a week and then do all this and then do all that and do all this, it's like, you're just killing these people, right? So that's why we have it at home. Use it as much as you can. Do it when it's feasible. Rather than doing it at 12 o'clock when the doctor has a free moment, you got to do it when the body needs it. So we use photobiomodulation like circadian medicine, right? So doing it at 8 o'clock in the morning to the brain is very different from doing it at 12 o'clock at noon or 5 o'clock. It's things like that. So it is sort of a whole system. So what I wanted to say is these kids' sleep got so much better that it was just a mind-blowing thing, So yeah. I'm kind of, that's good. It's tough to get this stories out in a straight line, but it's consistent. We're measuring it. We're getting these things. That's why it's so important, because if you enhance the sleep, and specifically if you, we're going to talk about the deep sleep, that's when the brain really heals itself. And we can get into details of that in the next question.
Yeah, it was a question. So using red light therapy, laser therapy, the difference between regular sleep as we hit our REM, they say that we need a REM sleep What's the difference between deep sleep and regular sleep?
That's a great question. So, like, remember, red light is going to do one thing. Red and infrared light is going to do another thing. These are LED pads, so they're safe. They're they don't heat up. They don't burn you. Laser is something you do in the doctor's office, right? Because it's high powered. It shoots out the juice, and you can get in trouble. Excuse me. So you're not really safe to take it home and let Jerry kind of treat your child. But I had a kid. I had a family with a child with extreme autism. He was great until he was like 4 months old, and then he lost his ability to speak and everything like that. And the guy gets on this is from Czechoslovakia, and he gets on the summit with me. We did a couple of summits there on my YouTube where we had all the researchers from all over the world come in and present their research on transcranial photobiomodulation, just to let people know there's a lot of, actually humans that spend their life doing this, right? Yeah. Researching this. And we talk about it and ask questions. He goes out and has this company build him a laser for his kid. And he puts it on his kid's head. It's amazing. And then he buys a hyperbaric chamber for his kid. Kid's doing horses. And now he has a whole center to take care of autistic kids in his country. It's pretty amazing. So that's kind of the thing. It's not really laser. It's LEDs. They give off light. And so sleep is important, and the stages of sleep are important. And getting good sleep is important. And, there's social jet lag. There's self-imposed sleep restriction that people do, that they make poor choices and things like that. And so with all these wearables, and I'm, the wearable king.
Yeah.
We have all this data, and we have the data from tens of thousands and millions of people, really. And how do you want to say this? Even if you're doing everything right, you can still have bad sleep, and that frustrates a lot of these biohacker dudes, right? So, we have. I've been on podcasts with people whose job is to help your sleep, right? And they didn't realize that she got on this path because she was a chronic insomnia. And I got on with her and I said to her, after you have a traumatic brain injury, your sleep cycles are all screwed up, and, you just can't get the sleep that you need. And she said, when I was 17, I was thrown through a windshield and I was on life support, almost died. And I never slept good after that. And so people don't get this bi-directional relationship, and that's what we're doing studies on, stuff like that, like acute traumatic brain injuries and things like that. So, there's a lot of things going on. But the bottom line is things can trigger bad sleep. So you need to have enough sleep. You need to go through your sleep cycles. So we're going to kind of describe that as a wash cycle, right? So the deep sleep, it comes early, and then the REM sleep comes late. And when you add up those two, that's called your restorative sleep. So you need a certain percentage, you need a certain amount of time. And this is like the deep sleep fills the brain with fluid, right? And then it washes it. And then the REM sleep is kind of like the rinse and spin, and then spits it out. So that's how you clean the toxins out of your brain, or the normal chemicals. They don't have to be toxic. They're the normal chemicals of thinking all day or being awake all day. And then there's sleep pressure, where you feel it's time to go to sleep. And then that's based on your circadian rhythm, and all your body has the same circadian rhythm. And then if you choose to screw it up, there you go. So your liver's ready to go to sleep at a certain hour. Your gut microbiome is ready to go to sleep. Your muscles are ready to go to sleep. Everything is programmed by how well you keep your circadian clock in alignment. You follow? This is why they're talking about these things. So, most people, if they have had, a concussion, or overstressed, or overstimulated, hyperarousal, there's blue lights in the phone, and they're just getting whacked out. There's phone addiction. There's a whole new, digital dementia scenario. But even in the natural aging process, because we can screw this stuff up, we don't get enough sleep and we don't get enough deep sleep. So just let me give you an example. I kind of like it this way. I find that everybody's an expert on the glymphatic system, right? But when I go on YouTube, I'm overwhelmed, right? But I don't see any of the names of the scientists that are citing my papers, right? So I just wonder, how much of an expert are these guys? And why would they believe me, right? I'm saying, right? So that maybe I'm just one more big mouth. But, it could be the difference between your life and your death, or the quality of life.
You've got the statistics. Yeah, you've got the statistics to back it up. So explain, the glymphatic system and how important that is.
So, like I say, it's wash, rinse, and repeat. Those are our sleep cycles. Okay. So, that's when all the immune system kicks in. That's when all the neuroprogenitor cells are released and all the healing can take place. Because it's like working on, if you try to do it while you're awake, that's like working on a Ferrari engine going 150 miles an hour. That thing's hot, it's burning. When you sleep, the cellular activity goes way down, the neuronal activity goes down. So you can get in there and muss around and play with it right like that. So it is kind of like our sacred time, and there's all sorts of stuff that messes it up. And that's why we feel that putting on the lights, not only does it help to increase the blood flow to the brain, which increases the volume and the fluid in there, helps to wash this stuff out. It moves the fluid, it energizes it, it kind of cleans everything out and assists in this process. Because if you don't sleep, or you restrict your sleep, or you have social jet lag type of thing, like the cleaning crew's ready to go, right? So we want to go from 10 to 6. I got an 8-hour shift. Ready, guys? Ready. Wait, there's Netflix binge. Wait, no, 12 o'clock. No, he's still not asleep. Oh, okay. So now we got to go to work at 12 o'clock, and we're just getting started. And now he wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning because he has to pee and do all this stuff. So you're taking the guys and trying to make them work overtime, triple time, double time. And they just go, we quit. We can't do this. And so everything starts to bog down. So that's kind of a Joe the Plumber view of what's going on inside your brain when you sleep. So you need to have those sleep stages have to be repeated in the right order. And the brain knows how to do this stuff. It's just we have to allow space for it to do it. And it's a very, it's a very delicate system, right? The blood-brain barrier is made so that the brain is protected from all the stuff from the outside. But then our eyes and ears and mouth can, overwhelm this poor system, right? So It's a very delicate system. It's not well understood. You can't call up the glymphatic department of the hospital and say, I think I have a glymphatic problem. But it's being well understood. And I have to say that we're kind of on the cutting edge of the research that's happening on this. Yeah. So it's kind of
a high-powered executive, an athlete, or a mom at home is very stressed out. She's not getting the sleep. They start to see you from a virtual standpoint. I mean, you're seeing them virtually. They're in California, you're in Costa Rica, where you're at. Excuse me. So kind of walk me through that consultation and how they go through the care with you.
So if we try to keep it simple, like we say, we want them to have a wearable. We want them to get some wearable devices. Okay. And, 30% of America has a wearable device. And sometimes they're good enough for us to use them. So we gather that data. We see them at a distance. We could do their, this is what they're doing. So, we have people who just starting off, and we like, they know that they're slipping. And maybe they're not catching themselves, and that's a good time to do it, right? Because you can care for yourself, but it's a very slippery slope from subjective cognitive impairment, which I don't think I'm following in these meetings, or I'm forgetting my appointments, or what I mean. That's easy if you can catch it, but if you don't catch it, it's a slippery slope till there's mild cognitive impairment when you forget that you don't remember, that you don't know, and the people around you can tell, but it's going to take decades maybe before the doctor can make a diagnosis. So that is wasteland. That is like a ripe spot. So once they get in there, it's really tough to have, mom is slipping and now she needs somebody to care for, and I got to go there. And that's what we help walk people through the steps. So it depends.
So, Dr. Joe, real quick, So when they start with the wearables, do you monitor them for 2 weeks, a month first before switching off to doing the photobiomodulation?
It's the best thing. We have some outcomes. So like, it depends on each individual. Like some of these guys are like 70-year-old triathletes, right? And they're just trying to get their edge and they can't. He told me, I spent $180,000 to improve my sleep before I met you. And none of it worked. So these aren't easy cases, right? They have every doctor that you can imagine on their cell phone. And, it's just putting the stuff in the right order, in the right way. And, get it personal, getting into the mindset and, family dynamics and all the stuff that you need to do. So it's definitely an individual basis. If you're not doing it individually, then you're kind of messing up. But the care is very easy. 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes before bed, and then we see what happens. We paint with a broad picture because guess what? If you give the brain the light, it knows what to do with it. It just seems to just kind of accelerate this process. We wrote this paper on it, 2022, and it kind of explains on how using the light as circadian medicine kind of entrains the system, gets it going, helps to bring in fluid and help flush it out. It sort of helps this pump system. And, that is the key. I'll kind of like, if you had to have the final common pathway of how the brain gets sick, this is it, right? So if you're influencing the common pathway, the brain gets sick, it gets better. So it's like I tried to say, I have these big discussions all the time is like, well, what's your protocol for Lyme disease? What's your protocol for traumatic brain injury? What's your protocol for autism? What's your protocol for anxiety? What's your protocol for dementia? And I was like, wait a minute. It's one brain. It's one brain. It has one way to heal, really. And let's just work on that. Let's just enhance the brain's own healing mechanisms. We don't even understand it, right? The black box within the black box. What are you going to try to tell me that, this is the spot you got to fix? Well, I mean, it's a whole brain. It's a whole body. It's a whole nervous system. We used to take care of a lot of neuropathy people, right? For decades. That's how we came up with this neural regeneration process, right? And their feet would go numb, right? From their statins or the diabetes or the chemo drugs, or they have burning and tingling and bugs and rest like. And and they would have cognitive impairment too, right? It's all one nervous system. Why are we trying to divide it up? If you amputate your foot, you can still get pain in your foot. Well, how is that possible? It's the same thing, right? So I'm just saying that I have a very holistic approach to this sleep and the brain and everything like that. And that's really good because it doesn't do any harm, right?
Yeah.
The photobiomodulation has no side effects, even on the kids, on the old people. No, you can't make them worse. It's a great system.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So we mentioned a retreat earlier. That's where people come to see you and experience a retreat. Can you go deeper into your photobiomodulation retreats?
So it's an ultimate sleep retreat down here in Costa Rica with two kinds of, we have the mountain location and we have the ocean location. And basically we just do everything that we do at a distance, but we give them all together because it's, you have to, it's high tech, high touch, and then low stress because we're just sleeping with the monkeys in the jungle, and so it's pretty cool. You kind of have it. It's not a digital detox because we don't need that. We just need the modification, right? So a lot of people have trouble with the apps. They have trouble with getting in the routines and everything like that. And because it's Dr. Joe, we're going to measure it, and I can, I can guarantee you 7.5 more hours of restorative sleep at the end of this week. And even that is enough. But you're going to learn the tools and techniques and, get the apps and the implementations and everything that you need to take this home and continue to remaster your sleep to get, your edge back. You know what I mean? You want to come back and it's, you may have sleep apnea and, it's just like, it's such a mess. This diagnosis and treatment of sleep apnea that they have now. It's very frequent, it's very common. It creates this very toxic burden for the brain, right? And you're not going to fix the brain by sticking oxygen up your nose. I mean, just not going to happen. It just doesn't work that way. And then these guys are like, put it on 3 and go home. And we're like, what is that? You know? So we may have to address a lot of things when the people come down here, but it's a concentrated way. We have small groups. We can do one-on-one, individualized. We'll have guests come in and speak, but we're going to guarantee that you've never seen anything like this. You never experienced anything like this. It's not a vacation. It's not school. It's a transformational experience where you're going to feel better. You're going to see that you're better. You're going to learn how to be better. And we get to go climb, go see the sloths and do, rafting and all the stuff. And the time when we have to have some physical activity too,
Sounds like a blast. It sounds like a blast. So there's next to the water, the ocean, and then in the mountains. So 2 different types of retreats. And
two retreats, two different just activities and things to do. And some people want a beach type of thing, and some people want the mountains. And we have the volcano here, and kind of cool. It's a lot of nature. It's really, we're saying wrapped in the arms of nature. You get to see green and hear different sounds. It's just people get, so much artificial light and so much artificial space, and it just blows up your circadian rhythm. And so you're already, starting off with a hindrance. Think about it. Think about it. Toxins, trauma, and thoughts. Those are the things that impact the brain negatively. And those are the things that we're going to kind of move those out.
And the toxins are pushed out through the glymphatics working, essentially.
Well, you got me going now. You got me going now, because I just want to say that we have some preliminary data. So we've already shown that inflammatory toxic chemicals can be moved out of the brain quicker with photobiomodulation. We know that there's research that shows that the beta amyloid and these fuzzy proteins and blood in the brain can be moved out quicker, right? We have some preliminary research that shows that by enhancing the glymphatic system and the brain's detoxification process, we are removing heavy metals, microplastics, PFAPs, PBAs, all the stuff. They're coming out of the brain by doing this. And that is kind of a great gift to humanity, really, because these are the toxins that give you all these neurologic diseases, right? Yeah. Even the virus, So it's like I just said, it's illuminating. It's great to be me. It's great to do my job.
Yeah, it's always good when you have a product or a service that helps other people live their lives better. So I can definitely appreciate that. So are there some people that go as couples, individuals? Do children go along for the retreats?
Well, I'm not, that's what we're up against. If you need your partner there, or you have a caregiver or something like that, it's perfectly okay. They can come and chill while we're doing our see, we're not going to do everything, right? We're going to do, going to have a big understanding of these topics, better understanding of your own numbers. What does this stuff mean? I have all these things. What does it mean? How do I measure it? And then let's say we're going to improve your breathing. We're going to reduce your stress response, and so that you're not so agitated, right? We can bring that down relatively quickly, and we can measure that it's happening. You don't have to just say, "Oh, it was like a yoga retreat where I really breathed." No, that's not what we're going to do. It's going to happen, but we're going to we measured it, right?
Okay.
We measured that you got better, or we measured that you didn't get better, so there's room for improvement. So, yeah, it's we're open. I mean, sometimes could be like, could be like a male type of retreat, right? So, because maybe that's going to be better because I can speak to, I'm 64 years old. And just to say on a measurement, my sleep scores on the Whoop, which I've done for 6 years, are in the top 5% of all Whoop users, or like 10% of all Whoop users, and top 4 or 5% of people my age, 64. I mean, I've done it, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
Okay. It's a good selling point. I like to hear about it. So where do you see your business from a vision standpoint in the next 5 years?
Well, let's say it depends on Elon Musk.
Okay.
Because really, I think that one place that if you had to go into the future, sure, everybody that gets one of these devices says to me, these should be in every house. They should have these things around for every little, Bobby hits his head. Well, what are you supposed to do now, right? Or hurt my shoulder or these things. I mean, my daughter has them and she has 2 kids and they're using them all the time, right? The kids and the sinus problems, put them on there. This, that, tummy hurts, put it on there. The daughter loves it, so, I'm a grandpa, say that, but I say, so that's one vision. And I don't want to, that's not really me. That's everybody's job. Everybody that are selling these things, but I'd like to see these in the space flights. I like to see the proneural light in space. Because what happens when you go to space? There's more radiation, right? And you get that puffy head, right? And the eyes puff up because the pressure in the head goes up. So NASA started using lights way back when to examine how they grew in plants. This is back in the 70s. They put red lights up in the NASA capsules. And I think it's time that it goes back. But just to help these people, the astronaut humans, to have a better brain when they come back to Earth and not have those really declines that you see them having when they come back, right? If we're going to go to Mars and they're going to be humans, they're going to need something like this. So yeah, if anybody gets Elon Musk on the phone, no, I'm just kidding.
We'll see what we can do for you. We'll see what we can do. From ProNeurolite, Joe, what's the focus of your business right now?
Well, the focus of the business is not laser focus, right? I'm an LED pad, which gives the light out this way. And you can see by the conversation that we kind of go in this direction. A laser is focused.
Okay.
So, if I could spend 40 minutes going over the research projects that we have going on right now, and I could talk about the patents that we have that are going to revolutionize the industry. And, I see my job as the, chief is the peak performance officer of the company. And my job is to make sure everybody's on the same vision and everybody's doing good and healthy so that we can keep moving this thing forward to bring this product to many people as possible to remove the suffering of our humans. Yeah. We're not in a good place right now. And we have to reclaim our healing potential. And I think that this is a very safe, effective, economical, sovereign thing. You can do this. You don't have to wait for some law for you to start getting better. You can get better today.
That's great. I love it. So I'll share any link that we can. We'll share it in our show notes, of course. But if someone is interested, the retreat, learning more about your product, where would you like to send them?
They can email me, Dr. Joe at proneurolite.com. I'll grab you there and we can just chat. We could get on a little discovery call, find out what's up. This is something I've done for a long time. It's not really that complicated. And sometimes, a good doctor likes the complicated cases. So don't, what I mean? In Italy, when I practiced in Italy, they'd come to me and say, Doctor, you're l'ultima spiaggia. You're my last beach, because they've been to everybody, right? And then they come to me and they're hoping that you can solve the problem. And it's like, I'm not here to solve the problem, really. I'm just here to, give you a boost, give your brain a little boost and see what that does for your life. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, love it. Well, as we wrap up here, Dr. Joe, something I asked all the guests here on the Prime Health podcast. The definition of Prime Health to me means optimal physical and mental well-being, but that's different for everybody. Because of your work with the brain, your work with sleep, what does Prime Health mean to you?
Having the ability to face the chaos of the day with peace and tranquility. That's kind of the whole idea is when you get all your numbers straight, right? When you're sleeping like Brian Johnson, 100 nights of sleep, I'm just as good as that guy. But it's not, then it just gets to the mental game, right? You need the strength, vitality to make an impact in this world. It doesn't matter if it's in your relationship, if it's in your work, if it's with your family. You need to be present. You need to be able to get there. And these little chronic this and chronic that, and we take away sleep, we can't be present. We can't show up as our best self. If you're a bus driver, if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, if you're a spouse, it's just, this is really I think the way forward for us as a species, as a nation, as whatever, to get better.
Yeah, I love the fact that you pre-analyze, analyze during, analyze after, because statistics show numbers don't lie. It's what's helping people. So I love that. Dr. Joe, it's been a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm sure we may have another one again, because we can share more about some other stuff that you're into as you advance along the way. And I always ask people to share the podcast. Of course, Dr. Joe and I would like more people to hear this, but it truly is there somebody that you are playing pickleball with? Is there somebody that you are having coffee with? Is there a relative that's had a traumatic brain injury and you know they're just not the same? If you share this story and they hear what Dr. Joe has to say and can learn about photobiomodulation, it can change their life. So we ask you to do that. Of course, selfishly, I'll ask you to share the podcast, but this is really to be able to help other people. Let Dr. Joe have a conversation with them. Let Dr. Joe show them, here's where you are today. Let's map out a system for you to get better in the future. So until next time, remember that true wellness is a journey we are all on together. Now, whether you're taking care of your own health or guiding others to theirs, every step forward matters. So stay committed, and Dr. Joe and I want you to reach and achieve your prime health along the way. Thanks again for your time, Dr. Joe.
Thank you.